Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bendigo Bank MCDFNL preview show. We're taking it out on location this week. We're here at Jubilee Oval, home of the Maryborough Rovers. We've decided to get out and about a little bit, get out to the people, which is what Sam Gowers wanted because he's got all the admirers out there that you wanted to meet. Sammy, welcome back.
G'day, mate.
Talk to us about the difficulties behind last week's show. Unfortunately, we didn't get it up because there was some technical difficulties, mainly involving your car battery. Please explain.
No, I think it may have been you forgetting that we're supposed to film and not showing up.
No, well, I was there and I got a text message through saying that you had a flat battery.
And I got one back saying, it's okay, I forgot.
So we're both at fault.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And also joining us this week, a very, very special guest, of course. The man when it comes to sport at the Maryborough Advertiser, the #1 paper in this town and in this league, of course, Grant Condon. Grant, welcome to the Footy Show for the first time.
Thanks, Shaun. Sam, how are we?
We're well, mate. Great to have you here to give a little bit of an extra view on the league for us. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty tonight, we actually have an interview because our youth girls side, for those who don't know, the Maryborough Castlemaine District Football Netball League have a youth girls team running around in the Ballarat Footy League this year, and they are flying. At the moment, they have 2 games left in the season. They're 4-4. They win both of these 2 games, they play finals.
Outstanding effort by the girls in their first year.
They are going along very, very nicely. So we caught up with a couple of their stars prior to filming tonight, and of course, whilst they've been out at training. So let's have a listen to the Maryborough Castlemaine District Footy League's youth girls team. We're here today on the MCDFNL Footy Preview with 2 of the stars of the MCDFNL Lions Youth Girls team that started up this year, Michelle and Marion McCready. Girls, welcome to the Footy Show. Good to see they're lost for words already. See, that's why we get the giggles out and we don't get the words. So let's try a little bit harder. Michelle, how have you found playing the first season in the MCDFNL Lions Youth Girls team?
Fantastic.
Good to see we've got the long answers going as well, Marion.
I really enjoyed it because I've always wanted to play footy.
Yep.
So it's been really good.
What's been the best thing about having the all-girls environment this year?
That we actually get to play.
Yep.
Because it's just, better.
How about yourself, Michelle?
Just being able to play.
Having that opportunity to play.
Yep.
And you've had a pretty good year as well. Obviously 4 wins and 4 losses this season. It's probably a little bit more than a lot of people would have expected, but you go in with a red hot chance with these last 2 weeks that if things do fall your way and you win these last 2 games, your season could be extended past the last game of the season, which must be a really exciting thought for you, Barry.
Yeah, it really is because I came into the season thinking we're not going to win a single game this year, and now
and then you won the first one and that all went out the window.
And then we're just like, wow, we can actually play.
What's been your highlight of the season today so far, Michelle?
Winning the 4 games.
Very simple, isn't it?
Yep.
No, it's been a very good season so far. Marion, tell us what Michelle's like as a player. I think she's leading the goal kicking at the moment. She's doing a very good job, and she played interleague, so she must be going okay.
She's really good when she gets the ball. She just takes off and no one can catch her, so she's pretty good.
That's not too bad, is it? What about Marion? What's Marion like?
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
I must admit.
In the back line anyway.
Yeah.
Not the forward line, she can't kick a goal.
That's all right. The backline players have serve their purpose, as I try and speak English for the first time in a long, long time. How was the interleague experience, Michelle? Of course, you played 2 games with the BFL's interleague side this year. I know we've had a chat about this personally, and you've said that you love the experience of being able to mix with other girls and really learn your footy a bit more. Is that how it felt for you?
Yeah, well, I never thought I'd have the opportunity to play interleague, especially my first year. I never thought I'd get that opportunity, so to be able to mix with other girls and that was really good.
Not only did you get the opportunity, but you were very, very good at it as well. It must have been from the games that I saw. What's plans after this year for footy, Marion? You've obviously still got another year of eligibility next year in the youth girls. Is it something that you obviously want to do next year and then look at a pathway beyond youth girls?
Yes, I still want to keep playing footy after youth girls.
What about yourself, Michelle? I know you've loved the team environment this year and the team that you're playing within. Has that really been one of the draw cards for your enjoyment of the season?
Right, yeah, so I really hope to. I want to play next year.
Yep.
But then I hope that there's a path or something I can follow on to the year after.
Yeah, which look, there definitely is. As we know, there's plans in the pipeline for women's pathways and going through talent programs and everything like that. So with the 2 local teams, or the 2 Ballarat teams in the Victorian Women's Footy League this year, there's a perfect pathway for you to keep going with your footy. Umpiring as well, of course. You both do a fantastic job umpiring on the weekends. Have you found that your footy's helped your umpiring with your fitness and everything like that, Michelle?
Yeah, definitely. A bit more running around and stuff and being out there. Yeah, it's great.
How about yourself, Marion? Do you normally umpire games together?
Yeah, we umpire every game together.
No, so every game, not just normally.
Yeah.
every game.
Oh, well, thank you very much for joining us tonight, girls. Best of luck for the next 2 weeks. We look forward to hopefully seeing the MCDFNL Lions in finals action in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you for joining us, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marion and Michelle McCready from the MCDFNL Youth Girls team. Let's jump back to the studio. Great work by the girls from the MCDFNL Lions Youth Girls team. Very impressive speakers, haven't they?
They are indeed very switched on girls.
They are indeed. Before we get into this week's footy actions, we've been lambasted. Apparently we don't talk enough netball on this show. Well, there is a reason for that, because we don't quite know as much about netball as we do about football, but we give it the good old-fashioned crack. But one thing has come to my attention this week in the netball, and is a very major milestone that will be happening out at Lexington on Saturday afternoon. Kimberly Roberts playing her 350th game for the Tigers. Playing 350 games normally means your result is dirt, but it's not the case for Kimber, who has been at Lexington since she was yay high, and an absolutely fantastic achievement, Sammy.
Outstanding effort by Kim. Most people shift around clubs a fair bit, but she's obviously stuck with the Tigers, and that's worked for her, so good on Kim.
Very good job indeed, Grant. Of course, you're the netball expert on this panel. How are Lexington's season going? Of course, they're going okay. Grand finalists last year, but Natty and Navarre probably a little bit above them just at this point in time.
Yeah, I think they beat Navarre in round one. The only loss that Navarre have had for the year. No, they're going along pretty well, Lexington, and definitely featuring deep into the finals again.
I think you might be right. There's definitely some serious head wobble coming out of the Natty Bialaba camp. As you know very well, Sam Gow's about their netball at the moment, because they are flying along, and quite rightly so. They had a bit of a scare on the weekend. Apparently they didn't play their best game against Harcourt. They'll be looking to rebound pretty heavily against Trentham this week, and that could be a bit of ulgy for the Saints netballers.
Yeah, they only got up by 10 or so on the weekend, I think. But
29-19, that's correct.
Yes.
Good research.
Trentham are anchored to the bottom of the ladder, haven't won a game yet this year, so it could be pain for the Saints this weekend.
Could be indeed. Very interesting game as well. Bolton taking on Denali. Bolton were the big improvers in the netball last year, but they've fallen off a lot in recent weeks. Denali worked themselves back into the top 8 last week. We know if they can get out up and about at the right time of the year, they're going to be very, very dangerous. So it'll be interesting to see this week how far Bolton have regressed, or are Denali the real deal?
I think Bolton's got a pretty young team this year, Shaun. We know they've got Beck McKnight there and a couple of other quality young players, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Dons actually pushed Denali all the way here.
Another very interesting game to have a look at this week. Carisbrook taking on Avoca in the netball as well. Avoca have been very good in the last few weeks, Grant. Doing some very nice things. Caitlin Drummond in particular in shooter is getting a lot of goals, and Carisbrook are just, they're flying under the radar very much so from a netball point of view as well. We know on their day they can be a very dangerous side.
Yeah, Voco, they had a really tough start to the season, much the same as their footy team.
Yep.
So I think we're only starting to see their best now. Lucy Walkley also playing some pretty good netball at the moment.
Yeah, she is indeed. Of course, Lexington and Royal Park, we said that we'll be out there for Kimber's 350th on the weekend, so we'll have a chat with Kimber out there, and we'll bring that to you next week as well. Newstead Rovers will be a very interesting game from a netball point of view as well, because Rovers really getting up and about from a netball sense this year, and if they want to play finals, Newstead's one of those teams that are probably a 5th to 8th rung team that they need to beat, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. Newstead they've won the games that they probably should have, and they've probably lost the games that they've been expected to, so they'll be keen to get this one.
Trentham and Natty, we've mentioned Talbot Harcourt the last game this week. Sammy, you'd think Harcourt to start favourites in that?
Yeah, I'd expect Harcourt to sort of lock away a game in the top 8 with this game.
Yep.
Talbot's struggling big time, unfortunately, for the Hawks.
They are indeed. Let's switch gears now. Let's talk footy. Malden taking on Denali. This is a huge game for all the wrong reasons, of course. Both teams at the wrong end of the ladder to where they would have been hoping pre-season. Denali got their first win on the last kick of the game against Rovers last week. Malden still searching for that first win. Sammy, can they get it this week?
I don't think so, even though it's on their home ground, which we know they played really well.
They do.
I still think Denali's just got that touch more class, the likes of Jamie Townsend, Jay Pitto, Jesse Olsen up forward.
Yep.
I think they'll just get over the line, but it could go either way.
Denali really haven't been all that bad in recent weeks, Grant. They've shown some signs against some pretty good sides. They just haven't strung 4 quarters together. If they can do that, you'd think they'd start favourites against Malden this week.
Yeah, I think they'll probably get over the line. They have pushed some sides that are well above them, so I think that's more of a sign of the league this year. There's no team that I think the sides are really keen to play against this year. The lower teams all seem to have brought their game up this season.
Yeah, very succinct by yourself there, Grant Condon. That's why you are the number 1 man at the Maryborough Advertiser, past, present and future.
No.
What do you say about that?
On with the show.
Okay, very good. Carisbrook taking on Avoca this week. Avoca coming off 3 straight wins. All of a sudden, they're only a game out of the finals at the moment, but going to be very difficult coming up against the Carisbrook side that have found their mojo in recent weeks well and truly. Liam Cunningham's kicking goals. Doggy Roskol is finally getting a kick. And I believe that there's a a fairly suntanned guy that might make his first appearance for the season this weekend.
I don't know if he's looking too suntanned. He's usually fairly pasty.
He's a pasty kind of gentleman, but he's more suntanned than what he normally is.
Yes, but Matty Bilton back in for the Reds had some huge boost last year's Berry Power medalist. Whether he'll make that big a difference to the side, we don't know yet. We don't know what sort of form he's in. I'd imagine pretty handy. But I'd expect Carisbrook to get over the Dogs here pretty easily. If
Bilton plays this week, Grant, that gives him 5 games lead into the finals. That's almost a perfect preparation for someone like Bilton because you can get him almost back up to 100% in plenty of time for that first week of the finals.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll come in fit. He's usually got a pretty big level of fitness. Palm Beach, I'm pretty sure, would have had him pretty switched on as well. Coming up against Avoca this weekend, Murray Bond's been playing well.
Yes.
And Tommy Nankiville, Adrian Pilgrim. But yeah,
are they the only 3 blokes you know?
No, I know a few more, but they're the big 3, and I think they're going to have to be their best if they're going to beat the Redbacks.
Yeah, Adrian Pilgrim playing a very good footballer, at least the best players tells us. So I've got a feeling he's actually not putting himself in this time. The team manager's making sure that's job done, and quite rightly so because Pilgrim has been playing good footy, all jokes aside. Lexington taking on Royal Park this week. If Royal Park want to test how fair dinkum they are about their premiership credentials, this is the day to do it. They come up against one of the form teams in the league on their own patch of dirt. Tough task, Seb.
Very, very tough indeed. We saw these two sides face off earlier this year, Shaun, and I think it was actually Bushy's first loss for the year, and it was a big one, 80 plus points. Unfortunately for the Hedges Oval Tigers, I can see that happening again. Lexington are in red hot form.
They are indeed, Grant, and part of that reason is that they're not solely relying on Matthew Brown to kick their winning score. He's kicked 50 goals this year, but they're finding other avenues to goal. Hobson, White kicking goals. They're getting around them, and they've always got 9 or 10 different goal kickers every week.
Yeah, they're really stretching the back line of a lot of teams, and they've been rolling pretty strongly. Royal Park don't have big scores kicked against them. That was a feature early on in their first 5 wins. So, yeah, it could be an interesting battle down there for some of the key forwards and the key backs.
Navarre taking on Campbell's Creek out at Navarre this weekend, and as good as Campbell's Creek have been this year, we know that they struggle a little bit away from home. They matched up reasonably well for about a quarter against Navarre last time in the Sunday game before Navarre then proceeded to wipe them, so you'd think that Navarre would be too strong here, Sam.
Yeah, like I said, Campbell's Creek do tend to struggle away from home, and there's no worse place to go at the moment than Navarre's home ground. They are absolutely flying. Very hard to tip against them, so I'm going with the Grasshoppers.
What's your view on this game, please, Grant? Creek have improved, but I don't think they've improved this much.
Creek have definitely improved. I think what we'll see is Creek, like a lot of teams, will come out hard against Navarre, but Navarre have proven this year that they're 4-quarter specialists. Their last quarters, they just roll teams. And I think a lot of teams gee themselves up to come out and hit them, and they hit them hard, but to maintain the rage against a team like Navarre is pretty hard, so I think Grasshoppers will run it.
How's some of the cliches coming out there? Maintain the rage, hit them hard. You think he's been doing this for years?
He might have a future in coaching, I think.
Trentham taking on Natty Bialaba this weekend. Before we get into the senior game, Sam, report from last week's Twos game. I heard you were lively in the forward line.
Yeah, I played about 5.
There's a phrase that we don't normally hear associated with your name.
Actually replaced someone up forward in the last 5 minutes. Someone who we won't mention.
Did you kick a goal?
No, I didn't. But
come on,
looked dangerous.
You let me down.
Looked dangerous.
Ted Trentham taking on Natty in the seniors this week. Trentham a much different proposition at home than they are away, but the Natty boys on fire at the moment. Our man the Wiz is kicking all sorts of goals and doing the flashiest stuff I have ever seen on a footy field, let's be completely honest with you. And you think the Swans are start favourites solely because of the Wiz's presence.
Just the Wiz, or
just the Wiz? No one else.
I think Natty's form also should mean they
That's
start.
probably got something to do with it as well.
But the Wiz may have something to do with the form, so who knows? But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Swannies will get the win here, even in the cold down at Trentham.
All jokes aside, Natty really strengthening themselves up pretty well all across the ground this season, Grant. They're one of those sides that most years you look at the ladder and you think that it's the top 4 and that's it. If Natty finish 5th, which is the way that it could end up falling with obviously Navarre, Lexington, Carisbrook and Newstead all pushing hard, if Natty finish in 5th, they are one of those teams that can challenge from outside the top 4.
Yeah, definitely. I think we saw them finishing 5th last year and they ended up making the second round and went down to Navarre.
Yep.
Pretty tough trip out to Trentham, but I think they'll have the goods. And Ryan Weir, I think he kicked 9 at Trentham last year, so
Get around him.
He
I'm telling
he
you.
might smell a bit of blood in the water this week.
Get around the Wiz. He's
Did
a
the Wiz
Wiz
tell you
huge
that?
day.
The Wiz would have told
He
you.
would
that,
have.
wouldn't
He told you. He knew you were coming in. He told you to mention that.
No, he's a pretty humble sort of bloke from what I've run into the Wiz at.
Wouldn't have thought. Newstead taking on the Maryborough Rovers this weekend at Newstead, and big game for the folk around these parts because they're coming up against the side that they did pretty well against earlier this season. I know that Rovers said that they gave Newstead their hardest game of the season to date when they were undefeated at the time, and Newstead acknowledged that as well. They came out the next week and didn't look great. So Rovers will be confident in this one, but it's at Newstead, and Newstead don't like losing at home, Sammy.
Yeah, Newstead said after that earlier confrontation this year that they were pretty sore, and that was one of the hardest games they'd had this season. Pretty hard to see the Magpies repeating that effort. I think they've sort of dropped off a little bit.
Stagnated would probably be the correct word.
Yes, it would. And I think Newstead will get the points, unfortunately.
How do you see this one going, Grant?
Newstead pretty hard to beat at home on those smaller, narrow grounds. Rovers played pretty well last week. A bit unlucky to get denied, and Newstead I think just got over the line against Talbot. So they're probably a bit down on form, but they'll probably get over the line this week. I'll back them in.
Good to see you got some confidence there, mate. I like it. Match of the round, though. Last game this week. Talbot taking on Harcourt. Winner goes into the top 8. Loser could very well be looking on in 5 weeks' time. Sam Gowers.
Yeah, I saw Harcourt play last week, and there's absolutely no doubt they've improved from that slow start to the season. But I still think Talbot might just get over the line.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. Obviously, Harcourt looking very good, but Talbot have got a few issues in recent weeks where their run's been a bit hampered. Matt Smith with that leg injury. I watched him a couple of weeks ago against Royal Park, and he could not get out of gallop. Let's be honest, he was just running on the spot. They need to find some run and carry. They do play their ground very well, but if Watson, Stone, Daniel Smith and the Harcourt goal kicker start to have a day out, it's big trouble time for Talbot because I don't think they've got the defensive structure to handle 3 or 4 key forwards.
Yeah, Harcourt definitely improved this year, and it's definitely the game of the round. Talbot, it will be all about 4 quarters. It's been the problem all year.
Correct.
So if they can do it, when they have done it, they've smashed sides, and I think if they can do it, they'll get the line. But I wouldn't get over the line. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a kick in it.
I thought you were doing something nice there and saying the Lions were going to get the line or something like that. I thought, hang on, he's having a little bit of a bet on this, and we don't know. They're each covering the lines.
Side with the Andrews boys this week.
Very, very good. This is going to be a very interesting round, gentlemen, and we thank you very much for your input. Grant Condon, you're welcome back any time, I believe.
I'll gladly come back, have a run at finals. I'm a finals type player.
Oh, here we go. The big game player, is he?
Yeah, the specialist.
Speaking of specialists, you didn't do too bad yourself, old son.
Yeah, never do too bad, mate. You did well as well.
Well, that goes without saying, let's be honest with you. That is the Bendigo Bank MCDFNL footy preview for another week. Enjoy your day at the footy and the netball tomorrow. We'll see you next week.